All right, as I promised, let's look at Comair. Aviation experts are saying that no airline will be able to survive the impact of the grounding orders due to COVID-19 without government support. Now, Comair, the latest casualty, had announced this afternoon that the group, which operates Kulula.com and British Airways in South Africa, would enter into business rescue to safeguard the interests of the company. In a statement, Comair said the decision was as a result of the COVID-19 crisis, which disrupted the implementation of a turnaround plan. The company said business rescue would ensure that a focused restructuring of the company could take place. Now, on the line from Cape Town is aviation analyst and managing director of Plane Talking, Linden Birns. Linden, thank you so much for joining us. Did this come as a surprise? I mean, SAA, we knew was in serious trouble, but Comair making profits for a long time.
Hi, good evening. I think one needs to take a step back and go, it's business rescue, yes, but the circumstances are quite different to SAA. This is not a situation where you have an insolvent airline going into business rescue. In this particular case, you have an airline that is still very much solvent, taking the decision to voluntarily go into business rescue. And that's quite a smart move at the moment, because what does that do? It allows them to stretch their cash that they do have in hand, their cash reserves, and make those last as long as they can. The challenge right now is that most airlines around the world, and certainly in Africa, have probably just under 2 months' worth of cash reserves left at their disposal. And we've been told by the tourism minister last week that we shouldn't expect to see domestic flights resuming before the end of the year, sort of November, December. We've got to try and find a way of stretching the cash that's available and turning any other assets into cash in liquidity, and covering that period, the next 5 to 6 months. That's a huge ask of anybody and everybody in the industry. And we're not unique in South Africa. You're seeing at the moment big airlines like Lufthansa doing the same thing. They're asking for state aid. They've maxed out on their borrowing. They're burning through €1 million an hour at the moment, just in trying to cover their costs. And here we're obviously a smaller scale, but airlines have got fixed costs to still pay for and cover, even though they're not flying.
Yeah. So Linden, you mean business rescue means that some creditors don't have to be paid, that can be deferred. So really, it's buying time for Comair.
It's buying time, and at the same time, they're also trying to reduce headcount. They're trying to cut other avoidable costs where they can, closing down restaurants and lounges and renegotiating terms with suppliers. Trying to negotiate compensation terms with Boeing on the 737 MAX that they did take delivery of just before the grounding last year.
Sure.
They passed on order.
Yeah. Do you think Comair, so jobs will certainly be lost, but can the airline come out of this leaner but sustainable?
I think they can. Look, it's really tragic at the moment that there are going to be jobs lost in this sector. Just to put things into perspective, in South Africa at the moment, as a direct result of the COVID-19 crisis, we're going to see 14.5 million fewer passenger journeys taking place in the country this year. That's a loss of about $3 billion US in revenue for the airlines in the country. And at risk are about 252,000 jobs across the air transport and tourism sector. And together they represent about $5 billion US in contribution to our economy. So the stakes are very high, and really government needs to start coming to the party now, putting together some measures to help airlines. Now, we know the government doesn't have a lot of money and resources at its disposal, but it can do other things to provide aid. It can waiver taxes, waiver some of those levies and charges on air tickets. It can provide some clarity and allow airlines to start flying sooner rather than later. And there are proposals that should be tabled within the next 2 weeks globally by the International Civil Aviation Organization to set out, together with the World Health Organization, to set out a set of protocols and measures that would allow the safe resumption of air travel around the world.
Yeah.
It just requires global adoption of those measures.
I guess, Linden, the problem is that if you let airlines just drop out of the sky because of the situation, when air travel resumes, it'll be very expensive, very few operators. So is that the future scenario that we're trying to prevent?
Well, it is. One of the things we need airlines to be fit for purpose when the economy restarts, because you can't run a modern functioning economy without an efficient air transport system. People need to travel and goods need to be transported. People need to get, people and goods need to go between markets.
All right, we've lost Linden there. Thank you very much for that analysis, though. Aviation analyst and managing director of Plane Talking, Linden Birns.